Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and today we're going to do a topic that was suggested by one of you. What's it like going out as a woman, especially early or before you transition? This is something that I struggled with a lot before I came out and was probably the most frightening thing that I could possibly think of, which seems, in retrospect, really dumb because I do it every day now. And I mean, the way that I engage with it and experience it, it's very different. So maybe what we'll do today is we'll talk about what it's like leading up to it, some of the things that I was thinking, what the experience was in going through it, and what I've learned from that, and what I can share with you if you're thinking of going out as a woman, or if you've had experience going out as a woman. I'd love to hear and share down below with your comments. So, I remember when I did not know that I was trans, and I just knew that I needed to explore my gender and I needed to put effort on finding out if I was trans and if I was a woman, because the more time that I spent not knowing that just meant that I was delaying the answer potentially for much later. So I started wearing dresses at home, and maybe some of you have had a similar experience, and feeling that really good feeling of dressing up and wearing clothes that make you feel validated. But then the whole well, how do I take this out of just my bedroom? How do I step out into the world? And that could be stepping out into your living room with your roommates, could be stepping out to your family, or just going outside. I think that's super frightening because you introduce variables that you don't have control over, right? Fear is based in not having control in the unknown. And when you step outside, there's so many more possibilities for the unknown to happen. But it's a necessary step in the coming out process and really going out there. And I've had a couple of you, some of the people that I'm coaching, or some of the people that I'm just talking to right now, some of you have had some struggles with coming out. And one of the things that I would encourage you to do is to find ways that you can get support in having someone with you when you go out. So for me, this was really big because I could dress up and I'd go out in a very big jacket that kind of covered my body. But then once I get to my destination and I'm with some other friends who are accepting of me, I could then feel like we were in a group and I was much safer being out as me. And I think that's probably one of the most important things in my transition into getting there, was to have a group of people with me. So that way I wouldn't feel like I could get targeted. I had other company to support me and other people to validate me. So my own insecurities could be forgotten, at least with being with a posse of friends. But I do remember going out, and I'm kind of jumping around here, but I do remember going out and the sense of just oh my God, what if someone kills me? What if I get attacked? What if someone looks at me funny? What if someone yells at me? How's that going to affect my own perception of myself? And I remember if anyone would look at me, I'd kind of try to leave their attention. If someone tried to strike up a conversation with me, I think that happened once. Once or twice, I remember just shunning them and just being I don't want to talk, bye. And even getting off, this was on a bus, I got off the bus early to walk home. Any bad experiences? I mean, occasionally I've had people look at me funny. I've even had one or two people come at me and make a joke about being trans. This person made an extra deep voice to embody this idea of a trans woman has a deep voice, which is not necessarily true, but it's definitely a stereotype. The man in a dress syndrome, that's probably the biggest thing that I struggled with, was being perceived as the man in the dress. And I feel the man in the dress joke really perpetuates a non-acceptance and a distancing from the reality of trans women who may not pass, and they just want to wear a dress and be a regular person, but instead it's become like a performance comical act, something to laugh at, something to actually not have empathy for. And it really pisses me off. Like, how do you feel about the man in a dress joke? I don't know if we have the woman as a man joke as much, but if you are a trans man, like, what's that experience like? And how have you dealt with it, and how have you moved through that? Trying to think if there's anything else here that really stood out to me. I mean, I go out now every time as a woman, but like sometimes I don't wear clothes that make me look like a woman. Like when I was flying to America for surgery, I wore a sweatshirt and sweatpants, and I got misgendered, and like, you know, I was like, oh, I thought I was a woman, but I guess not. So, you know, like, you're going to get misgendered anyways. You're going to get misread. My gait is something that I'm working on. Like, I think my walking gait can sometimes give me away because I lean forward, and it's not a good leaning forward when you're walking. But now, because of my surgery, and because I now have breasts, and because I've changed my voice, and I've changed my entire wardrobe, and I've changed my mannerisms, now I more or less pass. And that to me is something that's helpful, because then I can avoid the stares, and I can avoid being treated like that. Or not even being treated, just relieving myself of the stress. I think the stress for me kind of stuck around for at least a year and a half, because in that year and a half I was non-passing. But I was in San Francisco, so it's not like I was in a place that was super close-minded. I would just get a lot of stares, and some people might talk about me, and that always feels uncomfortable, but you can make do with that. I would also suggest, like, if you can, when you go out, like, have something that can kind of cover you until you find the people that you want to be with. If you're going out alone, I don't know if, it just depends on where you are, but ideally I think it's best not to go alone when you're first starting out, because it's a little bit too frightening and a little bit too overwhelming to kind of like manage and deal with. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys if you've already come out and you've been out in public, what that was like for you, what kind of fears came up, and how you worked through managing coming out and having that experience. Did you get a group of friends? How did you find the support to do it? Thanks for joining me today, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.